Hello and welcome to this episode of Trash to Track. Now in this episode I'm going to be looking at this Blue B12 that's been sent in by Tony. Now Tony said it's an intermittent runner and the front pony bogie keeps derailing on points. Now some extra weight's been added underneath the tender, the chuff sound's been removed. There's also a massive glue mark on the body side there above that splasher. The body shell's quite dusty. But overall, it doesn't look in too bad a condition. Now, for some reason, there's a watch battery glued into the front bogie. Now, I'm going to take this off because that could burst and cause problems. It also put a current into the bogie when I was testing it. Now, I'm just having a look around it. There's a bit of fluff here. I don't know what this is. But turning it up on its upside down, I'm looking at that gear because sometimes these gears. They are known for wearing. But that one looks to be in good order. Now, giving it a battery test, it was a very intermittent runner, as Tony said. So I'm going to strip it down and have a look, give it a service and overhaul and see if we can get it back running a lot better than that. Now, to remove the body shell, there's a screw under the foot plate, just like the old Triang version. This is a carbon copy, just with a new motor. I initially thought this was plastic, but it's not, it's just dust. I thought that was plastic off that plastic worm gear then, but luckily enough this one hasn't suffered that fate. This has obviously been opened in the past because the pickup wires are soldered in 4 separate places. So I'm going to tidy the wiring up as well while I'm in here. Now I'm going to remove the front bogie by removing this screw. Then taking the two screws left out on the underplate here. The wheels actually go through the chassis. So taking that base plate off doesn't allow me to take the wheels off. But there's an awful lot of fluff and dirt in here, so it's all going to need cleaning. The side rods are quite badly bent. One's got quite a bad kink in it. So I'm going to snip the pickup wires and remove that base plate entirely. And then when I do and set it aside, the whole thing just falls apart. It just all comes to pieces. So I'm going to have to renew that later. But by cutting those wires, I can now undo the rear screw on the motor mount and remove the motor in its entirety, just so I've got good access to everything to clean everything up. And the motor will just lift, there we go, just lifts out one of these chocolate box type motors. Now, I'm going to remove the side rods, but I'm just checking the gauge on the wheels. Now, the gauge is, the back-to-back measurements is very, very tight, especially on that centre wheel, so I'm going to have to adjust all those. I'm using my 2.5mm hex nut driver. I remove all the side rods, and as I said, these are badly misshapen. Every single one of them was bent or kinked in some way. And then I couldn't get this crank pin out. Now what happens sometimes on these models is the crank pin recess pushes through the wheel. The actual crank pin is a separate item, and it pushes through the wheel. Now, when I was trying to undo it, I got a screwdriver just to push the crank pin back through the wheel where it should be, and the wheel actually came off. The wheel there was so loose, it just virtually fell off. No wonder it was an intermittent runner. It looks like the plastic bushing has worn somewhat, but then taking the axle out, it's just absolutely caked in hair and fluff. So I'm going to clean all this up. There's that crank pin thing there that was said about. It needs pushing through. There we go. And once it's pushed through, now the hex nut driver will get a grip on the crank pin itself. And I'm able to take it off. And again, this side rod is also badly bent. Look at that, look. So this wheel, what I'm going to do, when I reassemble this later, I'll show you how I do the quartering, as that's a very common question I get asked. And I'm going to put that wheel back on with a little bit of thread locker. But I'm going to clean it all up first, and using a cotton bud with some contact cleaner. I'm just checking the other wheels. Now the other wheels don't come off. I'm just putting gentle pressure on them. They don't come off at all. So it was just that rear driving wheel had worked loose over time. The plastic bushing, I'd imagine, has just worn slightly, which allowed it to come off really easily. Never actually had that happen to me on a model before. I know the wheels are easy to pull off with a wheel puller, but I've never had one just virtually fall off on its own accord. So I've got the wheel sets here, and I'm going to start by gently straightening with finger pressure all the side rods. You don't need to use any excess force, just gently bend them with your fingers because it is very soft metal. You can go overboard. Just if you ever try this, be very careful. But I get there eventually, and all of them, to my eye, are straight. If any of them were kinked or bent, they'd have to be replaced. So now I'm going to put the wheels back in, and this is how I do the quartering. Now I've put that axle through with the wheel on, and I'm going to replace the side rods that we've just straightened on one side. So I put them on how they're supposed to be, and then put the crank pins back in and tighten everything up, making sure that everything is in alignment. You can see with the side rods on better that all the cranks are in a line and that the side rods are straight. So once that's done on one side, just like this, I'm going to put that down in the 6 o'clock position. Then using some electrical tape, I just tape the wheels up so they stay in that position, because they can move because the motor's not there to hold it in place. So I put the electrical tape on and make sure they're secured. And then this wheel here, now I've put some thread locker in there. It is slowly drying, and I'm going to line up all the cranks by eye, making sure they're at the 3 o'clock position, just checking everything there. And then I push the wheel home onto the axle and use that wheel back-to-back gauge we saw before, that brass one, to make sure that the back-to-backs are correct. But gently pushing that on there. And then I'm going to put the cranks and the side rods back on. Now I've done that on this side. Remove the tape. And now if I put this on a piece of track, it runs freely. There's no tight spots or anything. The quartering is correct, and that wheel is now holding. If the quartering was incorrect, it wouldn't run. It would lock up. So, and if it does lock up, all you do is you take the wheel off and try again. So I'm just putting some light oil on the axles. Now I know that the quartering's correct and the wheels have been put back in place. And I'll give that a quick push round so it goes in them axles. And I'm really happy that we got that quartering correct first time. And with a cotton bud and some contact cleaner, I'm going to clean all the wheel treads and the wheel backs now that thread locker has dried completely, and make sure the wheels are as clean as they can be. You can see just how much dirt's coming off them by the end of that cotton bud there. They looked clean, but obviously that was just a trick of the eye. Now the pickup plate that fell to pieces I've put back together, and I've soldered some new wire onto it. Now again, with a contact cleaner soaked cotton bud, I'm just cleaning all the pickups for all the wheels, and then we're going to put this back on and start rebuilding the B12 back to running order, hopefully. I'd imagine that the dirty pickups, and some of them were misshapen as well, coupled with that loose wheel, was what was providing the intermittent running. So threading the wires up through the chassis, and make sure that all 6 pickups are touching the wheel backs as they should be. Just like that, that's it, that's great. And once I'm happy, I screw it back into position, and then I test with my voltmeter to make sure that 1, the pickup brasses aren't touching each other in that keeper plate, and that 2, all 6 wheels are picking up. Now the wheel top left isn't actually doing anything, so I'm going to have to adjust that pickup and then retest. But you can hear the bleeping there that the majority of them are done. Once I've adjusted the pickup, a small amount of that grease on the worm gear, and then I'm just putting a small amount of black tack in the chassis in the wiring run, which is die cast into the frame, just so that I can keep the wires out of the way when I put the motor back in. There are 2 die cast cutouts, and the wires simply sit in there and come up the side of the motor. Now the motor now can be pushed back in. There we go. And I realise at this point, I go to screw this in, but I don't know if it's a factory error, but there's actually there's 2 holes. Look, there's the actual fixing hole, and then there's a start of another one which has been threaded. So no wonder I couldn't screw that in properly first time. I was actually trying in the wrong hole. So once I got it all correctly lined, the screw went in lovely, but I've never come across that either before, having 2 holes been drilled in the top of the chassis there. Now I was cleaning up the front bogie, which Tony said was a derailment problem, and I found the issue. The tyres are loose on the wheels, on the plastic wheels. So just gently prising them off the bogie, the tyres are all loose, and that will cause problematic running and derailments. So I'm going to clean all the bogie up, again cotton bud and contact cleaner to remove any of the old oil and grease that's on here. And then I was just popping that battery out, because I'm going to remove that, because if that swells and bursts, it's not going to do well. And it had been glued in such a way whereas it was proving to be live on the voltmeter. So to repair the pony wheels, all I do is I run a small bead of this Loctite gel super glue around the reel tread, having cleaned everything off it first, I might add. And then I thread the actual tyre back on and hold that in place. Now, I've done this before several times and it will hold. This will hold in place. I've got several of my own locos that I've done this to, and it's no problem. It just wears loose over time. I think the plastic might shrink. But I do that to all 4 wheels on the front bogie, and then again, once they're back in place and in situ, check the back-to-back measurements with this handy gauge. Again, I thought I'd show it in this video because many people have asked in the past. So I'm going to do a battery test now. I've wired the chassis all up, and that's running fine. And another question I get asked a lot is, how do I know what polarity is what? Well, this motor doesn't have polarity on it. So what I have in my toolbox is this Hornby Pug. Now, this is a factory model. Nobody's ever done anything towards this. So what I do is I test the polarity. If the chassis runs the same way as the Pug, I know the wiring is correct. Turning my attention to the body shell, I give it a good dust over with a dry paintbrush to get rid of all that surface dust. Now, this massive splodge of araldite, I think it is, on the or contact adhesive that's got in here. Now, from experience, I know that if I prise this off, this will come off with some force. So gently prising it off, and it did. It popped out in one go. Look, there it is there. And it's left a slight mark on the body side, as glue normally does. So I'm just going to touch that up with some BR Express Passenger Blue Rail Match paint and set that aside to dry, and hopefully that will be okay. Now, to reassemble the model, there's a clip that goes in the front underneath the smoke box, and the chassis is put back up, and then that screw hole is aligned in the rear, and the screw is replaced. The design for these later Hornby B12s, before it was retooled, was exactly the same as the 1960s Triang version. The chassis was exactly the same. In fact, the newly tooled B12 had a screw underneath the foot plate as well. Now, I had some trouble lining that hole there because the screw supplied is not very long at all. I don't know if it's the original screw, but it's very, very short. But once it's back in secure and the chassis in, I turn the model upside down and the front bogie is put back on. Now, this screw is shouldered, so you do that and it allows the bogie to pivot. The tender didn't need any work doing to it at all. All I did was clean the wheels and again give it a good dusting over with an old dry paintbrush to remove any of the old dust. And then I went through my spares box and I put the vacuum pipes on the front and back. And here you can see that paint's dry now. There's a tiny, tiny discrepancy in the colour, but it looks a damn sight better than that massive splodge of glue. So that's Tony's B12 fully overhauled, repaired. The wheels have been repaired. That rear driving wheel is now back on secure as it should be, and it's looking a whole lot nicer and cleaner. And this Express Passenger Blue really does suit this B12 loco, even though it's not prototypical for the model in one bit. In the same parcel, Tony also sent this mainline 03 to be repaired, so I just thought I'd include the running shots of it here. This just needed a general service and clean up, and it's an absolutely beautiful runner for one of these split chassis diesels. I didn't do a full episode on this because I did one of these not so long ago. If you've got an engine or anything that needs repair, DCC fitting, repainting, please email me at dansmodelrailways@gmail.com Have a look at getting it sent over, and who knows, it may even feature in an episode all of its own. So I test ran Tony's B12 on Trains for You shop layout, as you can see here, and it runs absolutely superbly. So I'd like to thank you all again for watching Trash to Track. Please like, share and subscribe, and I will catch all you guys in the next video. Bye for now.